Hello, guys. How's it going? Finally, after a long summer break, Step Up Spurs is back with the weekly content on your previews, on your post match shows, and yes, we are gonna be having a lot of exciting times. Every single one of you who wish that I won't be coming back to the YouTube after all the nonsense that happened during the summer. You all know who you are, who all instigated all those fake troll accounts going around and all that. But it's going well. I'm back with a bang, and it's time to now enjoy football. And yep, we all know what's happening over the weekend. It's the North London Derby weekend, and now's the time that we get really into the business end of the season. And as usual, guys, make sure you guys hit the likes and the subscribes if you're watching it here for the first time, and let me know your thoughts in the chat section if you're here watching us for the first time. Let me know where you're from, where you're joining us from, and and yeah, let us know your thoughts on the topics that we are going to discuss. I would love to hear from all of you in the chats as well. So before further ado, let me get my guest on. He's a very special guy basically. So as you all know, I'm a real guy. I hang out with the real guys, whether they are Tottenham fans or whether they are Arsenal fans, whatever. He is one of those real dudes as well. I got to know him through one of our good friends, TJ, who often comes on Tottenham Away, and yeah, I got to know him through his show. So without further ado, let's welcome Jess from Arsenal since 1967. How are you doing, Jess?
All good, man. All good. Looking forward to the game tomorrow, which is always a nervy setup, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I see there's a lot of people out there saying that Arsenal are going to actually pipe Tottenham. I'm not convinced on that myself. But it all depends on what team Arteta puts out there, mate, really. If he does his stupid nonsense setups, then we're in trouble. Tottenham are in a play one at the moment, and so we got to be. It's gonna be a hard game. It always is against Tottenham. So yeah, but I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, well done, well done. Yeah, as you all can tell, he is definitely not one of those deluded Arsenal fans who say that we're gonna trash Tottenham 5-0, and neither I'm gonna say that we're gonna trash Arsenal 5-0, 6-0. I hope that yeah we can pull out a win because it's always going to be great if we can pull out a win at Emirates. But we all know that our record at Emirates is not that great over the past few seasons. So it will always it's always going to be an uphill task, I think, for Tottenham to go into Emirates and bag 3 points. I think I'll be happy even with a draw. Yeah, but Jess, before we go into all that usual talk, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you grew up, and how did you becoming a football enthusiast to this level that yeah you started your channel and all that. Let us know your journey, mate.
Okay. Well, I grew up. Um, I was born in Gillespie Road, right opposite the North Bank. My grandparents lived there. My granddad was an Arsenal fan from, well, his first time he saw Arsenal was 1924. And all through that, and through him, when I got to the age of 6, about 7, um, he took me to my first Arsenal game in the old West Stand at Arsenal. Um, my parents then we had a house in Avenel Road, which is right opposite the East Stand, the old Highbury East Stand, and so it was basically in my blood to support Arsenal. There's no other option when you live there. So yeah, I've always had a love for Arsenal. The fact I used to go to games as a little kid with my granddad, and then as I was older, 16, 15, 16, I was sort of allowed to go on my own with my mates. And we used to go in the North Bank back in the day. So I've got basically a lifelong affinity with Arsenal, and the rivalry, of course. against Tottenham. I mean, I find it quite fascinating that there's a lot of fans that say Tottenham aren't our rivals, and that's because they see it as the fact that Arsenal have won more trophies than Tottenham. Well, the thing is, a lot of people that say that have never lived in the area of Islington, so they don't quite get the historical part of the rivalry between Arsenal and Tottenham, which goes back basically to 1913 when Arsenal got elected back into the first division. Wrongly, really, wrongly. Tottenham got relegated, Arsenal got put back in, and it went from there. But when I do history shows about Arsenal, and I did one about that pure incident, the fact that it was basically manipulation by a certain newspaper that is still around today called The Athletic. And the thing is, the work behind the scenes, which I think was dodgy personally, that one of the guys that put pressure on to get Arsenal back in was actually a director of Arsenal Football Club, but he was also a part owner of the Athletic newspaper. So you have to ask questions there, don't you, really? Was it a level playing ground? I don't know. I think there's a lot of corruption myself, but there you go. So that's my journey with Arsenal. I don't go to many games now because I don't live anywhere near North London, and to get there now for me is a real hassle, to be honest. I don't particularly like the Emirates ground, and the reason I don't is because I don't think it has the atmosphere that was at Highbury, personally. Maybe that's because I'm old school and I went to so many games at Highbury and home and away. It just doesn't have the magic for me personally, but it is a nice, don't get me wrong, it's a great stadium. I've yet to go to your new stadium. I haven't had the opportunity to go. I'd love to go just to get a point of view and see the place. I've seen it from the outside, but I've never been in it. And from what I'm told, friends of mine that still live in the area that do go to the games, they say it's quite magnificent ground you've got. So I would like one day to get the opportunity to go there. But yeah, my journey basically is that. I mean, unfortunately, I had to move away from the area due to work circumstances back in about 2002. I still used to go to Highbury back then. I still had a season ticket. I gave up my season ticket back in 2008-09 season because it was just getting uneconomical. It's just getting too expensive to travel up there by train, tube, get into the ground. I just sort of lost the heart of it. But I've always still watched the games. I go to away games when I can. One of the easiest ones for me is Brighton Arsenal, because I only live down the road, really 25 odd miles from Brighton. So
nice.
It's quite easy to get there for me.
And I've quite a few mates in Brighton, that area.
Yeah, I mean, I like. I mean, Brighton's the Amex ground's a lovely ground. It really is a great ground, and when I go there, I actually do go with some friends of mine that are actually Brighton fans. So that's always a good laugh because I have to sit in with the Brighton fans. But it's always comical, that's for sure. They always wind me up and drop me in the crap. But there we are. Yeah, so that's my journey with the Arsenal and football in general. I just like watching football. I watch anybody really. The one thing I don't like very much is international football. I just find it boring, especially watching England. And I actually, for the first time ever on my channel, did a watch along of, no, not a watch along. I didn't do a watch along, but I did a review show of Ukraine England, and it was such a boring game to watch. It was slow, it was ponderous, and I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that again because I just don't enjoy it. And I find these international breaks are absolute pain in the backside. I just think, why do we have to have this? Why do we have to do it? You know, it just ruins everything. And as a YouTuber yourself, you know how frustrating it is when you're running a channel and you have to keep putting content out there for your subscribers. During the international break, there's invariably nothing to talk about. You know, so that is always a real pain. It's like in the summertime. You know, I kept putting channels out, streams out during the summer, but you're scratching to find what to talk about. And the only thing you can really talk about is the transfers type situations, you know, which was an interesting thing for Arsenal. We started very well in the transfer window, in my opinion, and then we just slackened off again. We didn't get some players in that we needed, but that's Arsenal, man.
Yeah, I I I I I pretty much resonate with you on the transfer window part and all that. I think we were, I think, in a slightly similar position. I think I would say last season. I would say when we had a similar window, like we started very well and then it didn't went very well. But going into the transfer window, and at Arsenal in general, I like to ask a couple of questions basically. I think in Arsenal fan base, likewise Spurs fan base as well, right now, we see that there's a divide, definitely. There are people who are kind of satisfied with Arteta, and they would say that, okay, what Arteta is doing currently, he is progressing. He has brought in got a lot of youngsters, and he has improved the football from where Wenger left, and then you guys sacked Unai Emery. I think by the time the club was in shambles, I assume. I haven't been following Arsenal for that long, but yeah, that's the word around the street mainly, that mainly Arteta has done something better, something progressive. He is taking the club to the heights of the new glory, and he's often labeled as like the new style manager, which is upcoming. And a lot of people say that this kind of style that Arteta plays, the variety or the way he coaches his players is going to be the future of football. He's often seen as in that category of like the modern football coach. And then you have other fans, like I think it's fans like you, and yeah, fans like my friend DJ and Del Boy. Some of these guys, they know that basically this guy has a particular limit, which probably according to some he has reached that limit. Can you elaborate that a little bit for us? Like, what do you see? Where do you see this divide in the Arsenal fan base, and what is basically why is it a major problem now in your fan base? Because I think your fan base is more divided. I assume is more divided on your opinion about the manager rather than the opinions about the ownership part. If I'm not mistaken, for us, basically, we are more divided because of the ownership, as we all know, because that's the only consistent thing that we have had over the previous years. Let me know your thoughts, Jess.
Well, it's a very good point. There was a point in time when we had Arsene Wenger still at the club that it was Kroenke's out, Kroenke's out, Kroenke's out. You know, I never was a great believer in that because the one thing you can't deny is that the Kroenkes have always stumped the money up for the players that various managers have wanted.
Yep.
The latter years of Arsene Wenger's reign at Arsenal, he was buying some pretty crap players. Let's get it right.
Yep.
You know,
I agree.
which players that we've now pretty much got rid of and had to because they just weren't the levels for Arsenal. And getting back to the Arteta situation, there is a massive split in the fan base. Not so much at the ground, at the Emirates, because a lot of people will follow the narrative laid down, as we previously talked about, by a certain very large Arsenal YouTube site, which they will follow the Arsenal narrative, which they then put out to pretty much their younger followers, subscribers, whatever you want to call it,
millennials and Gen Zs, as assumed.
Yeah, I mean they will follow that because they believe what that channel says is the only thing that is right. And I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. It tends to be people who are a little bit older, 20s, 30s, and older than that, that can see what is happening at the club with Arteta. Arteta last season did amazing. Can't deny it. Did amazing work. Top of the league for 93% of the season. Then he did stupidness. He did stupid things, bad substitutions. When we were away at Liverpool, 2-0 up, one of our renowned idiotic players, Granit Xhaka, did a stupid thing. The Anfield fan base that day, the crowd, were quiet. 2-0 down at Anfield, right? And they go quiet. That is Liverpool. I've been to Anfield so many times. If you get on top of them, their crowd goes quiet.
Yep.
But because Granit Xhaka did a stupid thing, got booked, the crowd, the Liverpool fans, got up, and it changed the whole philosophy of the game. And then Arteta made the most ridiculous substitution. It came back to 2-2. Salah missed a penalty, could have been 3-2 up, right? So he then goes defensive, which was a stupidity. I just couldn't believe what he was doing. He puts a new player that has only just joined the club, a defender, in midfield, Kiwior.
Yeah.
At Anfield. That killed us. That's what killed. That was the start of the downfall of what happened with Arsenal. And then Southampton, West Ham, those games. The game, I mean, that was our season over for winning. Because we all know with Man City starts slow and build and build and build. And look at the moment. They're unbeaten. And for teams like Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United, every game is a win-win situation to keep track with Man City. Otherwise, they're going to be so far ahead, out of sight by Christmas. Yeah, you might as well just call the season off, because all the rest of us are going to have to play for is the FA Cup and any other trophies you may still be in. And the thing is that in the summer we started off very well with our transfers, who we brought in. The January transfer window I thought was bang average, but then we bring in a £65 million player in Havertz, who just has not hit the ground running. I was one of the people at the start of this season that said there must be a player in there. We just haven't found him. Well, we all know that some players that come from Europe just can't hack the Premier League. And maybe that's
exactly.
Maybe that's him. Maybe he might have been a great player at Bayern Leverkusen in the German league. But he may not have that ability in the Premier League. The Premier League is the fastest, toughest league in the world.
Intense as well in terms of fouls, tackles, rules. Yeah,
absolutely. And maybe I've seen it with the players have come to Arsenal, and they've been great in their home league in Europe, in Spain, Italy, wherever, France, and just not had it at Arsenal in the Premier League. And within 2 seasons, they're gone. Shamak, one of the, he was fantastic in France, right? Fantastic. But when he came to Arsenal, he was absolute rubbish, and he was gone within 2 seasons. So I question whether he has the ability, or is it just he is so lacking in confidence at this point in time. And Arteta's going to have to find that in that player at some point, or he's going to have to sell him. And we know we spent 65 million. We're not going to get that money back. And that is a questionable thing that I see all the time with some of the players that Arsenal buy. We buy them big money and we let them go. Look at what we did for Pepe. He was our highest £72 million signing when we bought him, right, a few years back, and he's gone for nothing.
Yep.
Just ripped his contract up. Arsenal have got a full 11 first team of players that we've let go for basically nothing. We had to get rid of Ozil out of the club. He was a real problem. He was a cancer in the club. He was so disruptive in the changing room. We had to get him out. And I agree with Arteta for just ripping his contract up and saying, go. That had to be done. Aubameyang, again, was questionable. They clearly had issues between Arteta and Aubameyang. And Arteta, the thing I really dislike with Arteta is his arrogance. Okay, if you disagree with him, you're finished. That's it. You're done. And I don't like that, because I know, yeah, okay, he's the boss. But if a player says, look, like for example, I with Aubameyang, it was clear that Aubameyang didn't like playing out on that left wing, and I get that, because he's a striker. Wherever else he'd played before, he was a striker. He's up front. So why do you put a striker out on the left wing? It's just not, doesn't make sense to me. And I question the fact that a lot of people say he's restructured Arsenal in this way. I don't believe that is the thing. I think Arteta basically has taken Arsenal. He will be proven this season. I think he's taken Arsenal as far as he can take them. My personal belief. Because if you look at what he's done at the start of this season, we got lucky. We got lucky at Palace. We got lucky against Forest. Because
preach it. There are some fans who don't believe it. I've been telling that to Arsenal fans, and they're like, "No, we are going to win the league, guys."
I'm sorry to say it. No, I don't. We don't have the depth of squad. We've lost a very good young player, Jurriën Timber. He's out for the rest of the season with his ACL injury. We've now lost Martinelli, probably 4 to 6 weeks with a hamstring issue. We don't have the depth. We've lost Partey for probably another 6 weeks. And so we're already 3 of our top players out. And we don't have the depth of squad to replace them. And this is what I question about the transfer window. Personally, I think Edu, who obviously is our technical director, is bloody useless at his job. Started well. We got in some players, got Declan Rice, big money, 105 million. I think he's absolute class at Arsenal. You can see his passion, that he wants to play for the badge. But we should have kicked on more. We should have kicked on. And if we'd sold players in that summer transfer window for proper money, we could have bought extra players. But we didn't.
Yep.
And so now we're left exactly the same situation as we were last season. We don't have the depth of squad. And now we're in the Champions League. Yep. And I hear people saying, oh, we're going to win the Champions League. Stop living dreams. Stop living dreams. I mean, yeah, we played and beat PSV the other night 4-0. They were very poor. They came to play an attacking game against Arsenal at home, and it cost them big time. And that's great comment there. We should have bought Maddison. We could have bought him for 35 million, was it? Something like that.
30 million plus 10 million, I think, that we gave for Harry Wing, something like that. I think 40 million.
That's a bargain. absolute bargain. And it was a point in time 2 seasons ago or a season ago, Arsenal were linked with him when he came available. We spent £65 million on Havertz, whereas we could have gone for Maddison. It doesn't make sense to me. This is nonsensical transfer business. And this is why I do not follow the narrative of the football club and certain people that say things on a very big channel, because people will copy and follow. They tweet it on Twitter and all that. And I don't agree with it. I'm sorry. I've got my own opinion. I've watched this club for way too long to know that Arsenal have done this time in, time out. We are the only time we were very good at transfer business was when we had Sir Peter Hillwood and David Dean, because they were brilliant negotiators. Once we lost them, they went. I'm talking about the Wenger days here, and before, when we had George Graham as our manager, and that's when we used to do proper business. Right now, we seem to like buy a couple of big names, and then that's it, because that will keep the fan base quiet. Oh, we got Harry, we got Declan Rice. Oh, we got Kai Havertz. Oh yeah, well, I'm sorry, Declan Rice, I totally agree with. He's class. Havertz, I'm not so sure now. Jurriën Timber, well, what went wrong there? Because he clearly had an issue before half time. Goes in, he comes back out on the park, and within 5 minutes, he's done.
Yep.
If I'm the boss, right, even if the medical staff say to me, yeah, he should be all right, boss, I'll be saying, no, you're on the bench, son, for the second half. I'm bringing on somebody else. I'm protecting you. I'm protecting you. But
and another thing that I would like to ask you is, like, I think your striker situation has been more or less there for a couple of years. I think even Aubameyang, when he was around, you guys were looking for a striker who is like an upgrade, because Aubameyang, like a lot of people were saying that he's not a proper number 9. Basically, I mean, he was good, but definitely there was a big majority of Arsenal fan base that wanted someone like Vlahovic or someone at that level. And then you go up and buying Gabriel Jesus, who is considered at Man City as not a proper striker as well. And then you have a youngster in the name of Balogun, by the way, who looked like a promising youngster, who looked like a promising striker, and he is doing great. I mean, currently with US right now. I would like to hear your thoughts. What do you think about Balogun now going to Monaco? Like, what do you think that was like a youngster with whom Arteta could have holded on, or do you think that was also a case of Arteta's arrogance coming in, where he couldn't just match it up with a youngster who had that potential? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that particular situation?
I think it was an absolute joke that we sold Balogun. And this, I totally agree with what you just said. This shows Arteta's arrogance. He obviously clearly didn't want him, didn't rate him after the great season he had in the French league season on loan the season before. I think, as I said to you previously, if you don't agree with Arteta, it's out, you're gone. Maybe there was some discussions there, because you didn't even give the lad a chance. You took him on the American tour, never played him, and that's the time pre-season that you have a look at the player and say, yeah, okay, all right, but not even to give the guy a chance and then let him go to my mind. I'm sorry, he was levels above Eddie Nketiah. I mean, Eddie Nketiah is absolute crap, but I mean, 10 games last season he started, right? Arteta then saw he was poor and benched him. Week in, week out, he was benched. And he only came on in the last 15, 20 of the game. Yet Florian Balogun we pushed out the door when we clearly needed another striker. As you quite rightly say, Gabriel Jesus is not a 20-goal a season player. He wasn't at Manchester City, and he's not going to be at Arsenal. And the recent games, all right, he was injured, and that is an issue because he is injury prone. We lost him for 2 months when he came back from the World Cup last in January, and that caused us an issue because we didn't have anybody to replace him. And if he gets injured at any point in this season, who's going to come in for him? Who have we got? We've proven. I mean, we have at the moment we haven't got Martinelli. He's out with a hamstring issue. So this is where I question. I've been one of the same. Lee Gunner, Kenny Ken, others have been saying for 2 seasons now. We need to get an out-and-out striker that's going to get you those 20 goals, 25 goals, Harry Kane type player. You know, that's what we require. I mean, look at Harry Kane. He's busting it up at Bayern Munich. You know,
he had a hat trick today, and I think 2 assists or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to rip that league apart, and of course he will. It's not the levels of the Premier League. He is a world-class striker, right? And I have to be honest. I would have thought, you know, Arsenal might have put a cheeky bid in for him when he was looking to get out the door, but we didn't. And I hear people saying, well, he would never have gone to Arsenal because he's Tottenham. Well, sorry. We've had ex-Tottenham.
Sol Campbell did.
Well, we've had ex-great players, haven't we? Pat Jennings, greatest goalkeeper, one of the greatest goalkeepers, maybe apart from Ray Clements at Spurs. And Sol Campbell. You know, I mean, look how good Sol Campbell was. Scored our goal in the only Champions League final we've ever been in. So this is what frustrates me with Arsenal. It really does. Is that we it's like we go so far buying players. Yeah, we go so far, and it's when we bought him. We've done that. We bought him cheap and youngster for the future, and that's it. And it's like a car running out of petrol to me. If you're serious, if you're really serious, then you have to go the whole hog. You have to go the extra mile.
Yep.
And I think it's not dissimilar at Tottenham, to be fair. You know,
I think it's kind of similar still. I think we hardly do business with Chelsea and with Arsenal over the unique years. I think definitely our ambitions are as questionable as yours as well. I think we could have we had opportunities to sign some really good Chelsea players and some really good Arsenal players as well in the past, and I think on our side it's been pretty horrendous as well. Like we could have really taken some of those opportunities that we really missed. Like I was saying, for example, now when Arsenal was trying to sell Balogun, because it was obvious that it didn't work out with Tottenham. And at that point, there were rumors around Spurs could have gone with someone like Balogun because when Harry Kane left the club, we needed someone like Balogun as well. We needed a young striker who can actually go further. Firstly, a future prospect, and I think Balogun offers that. Balogun, I think, is definitely a better striker than Richarlison. Richarlison is crap. I'm not gonna lie. That guy is no better than what Nketiah is. He's no better than even what Kai Havertz. He's like the Kai Havertz of Tottenham in the forward line. You can say that guy is awful. Like he's a striker. We paid 16 million for him, and I personally feel like that's shambolic. Like there are Tottenham fans who keep on going on their channels and saying, "Ooh, Richarlison." Last whole season, myself and a couple of my mates, we were saying that Richarlison is a bang average signing. He's a bang average player, even below average player. He looked good at a club like Everton because it's a lower level club where you don't have that kind of pressures which you face as a top 6 club. Even though, yes, I agree, he's in Premier League. He's doing okay. One season he had like 10 goals, I think, or something like that. 10 goals, 5 assists, some figures like that, I think, in for Everton. But a player like him cannot perform at the level of where Tottenham Hotspur as a football club is. He cannot deal with the pressures of the of a club, of a top six club, and it got proven. And then no, there were some fans were saying that no, uh, some of them they kind of joke, some of them they were kind of serious, saying no, this guy, he's so good, his career is being ruined because of Harry Kane, and Harry Kane doesn't want to stay at the club. Why not just get rid of him? There are fans saying that kind of crap. Can you imagine? Like they were saying that okay, get rid of Harry Kane if he doesn't want to stay, sign the contract. We would rather play with Richarlison. Richarlison can play up front. He's not good on the wing. When you play on the wing, or when he's not doing his job, no, guys, seriously, if a player like Richarlison is not doing well in the lower competitions, like when we play him in cup competitions against lower ranked teams, do you really think that that guy can come into the Premier League and be at the levels of Harry Kane? Bullshit. No, 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 not at all. And then there was this narrative. Now, after that, some of them are saying, I mean, some of them are going on saying that, oh no, we just wanted him to be a backup striker. Actually, we are happy with Son as our striker, and we would rather have Richarlison as like a backup striker coming in. Like the narratives, like this is what I call the flip flopping, basically. But it has been proven, I think, in our side as well. I would have taken on any youngsters, like a youngster like Balogun. I would have taken even Vlahovic. Would have been on sale if Daniel Levy was ambitious. If Daniel Levy really wanted to solve the striker crisis of Tottenham, I think that he should have at least put a bid on someone like Vlahovic. Like I know some fans would say that okay, he wouldn't come to us, but why not go and try? Put a bid like 60, 70 million on someone like Vlahovic, who is struggling at Juventus. Clearly he would benefit from the Premier League football. He is at that level of playing, but we didn't. So I think that Tottenham Hotspur as a football club is where I think Arsenal is. But I think the problem, as I mentioned again, your side I think is the managerial choices. Our side is the ambitions of our ownership. But I don't know, like how do you view as Tottenham Hotspur over the couple of years as a rival? I would like to hear that as well.
Um, just repeat that last part again.
No, where do you see Tottenham Hotspur over the last few years in terms of their business, in terms of the up incomings and all of that as a rival fan? Like, do you think that Tottenham has done things really that can threaten some of their rivals? What do you think we have done well? What do you think has gone like really wrong? I would like to hear from you from a
I
outsider
think
point of view.
Tottenham have struggled in their getting the players that really Tottenham need. Personally, I think your Levy guy is very, very, very poor at doing business, in my opinion. And I think that is why Tottenham haven't really achieved the levels they should achieve as a club. Which, a lot of Arsenal fans will take the piss and say, "Oh, they're crap, this, that, and the other." But you have to remember, Tottenham are a decent club. I'm not going to say they're one of the biggest clubs, but they should be doing better than what you are, because you got into a Champions League final, and you have to respect that. But you played against a better team, and you just didn't turn up, in my opinion, when I watched that game. And this is the thing that I find unbelievable is I watched the game last season, Arsenal Tottenham at the Emirates on the TV, and the amount of Tottenham fans that are walking out the ground half hour before the end of the game. Why? You don't do that. Well, I've never done it, and I've been to games where Arsenal have been absolutely battered, and I wouldn't walk out before the end of the game, but that's a different story. But the fact remains, I honestly think your transfer business has been very poor, and I think one of the biggest problems was when you lost Harry Kane for you guys this season, and I think that's going to cost you bad because
On a long run, yes.
you haven't brought somebody in that's going to be the level he is to replace him, and I think that will cost you. I mean, no, I didn't watch the game. I didn't watch it, but you're already out of the Carrier Bag Cup, as I call it. And I think for a club of your standards, that should never happen. But is that the fact that your manager didn't take that competition seriously because his eyes on other things?
Yes.
Because I have to question Arteta in every time I hear this narrative. Oh, but he won an FA Cup. Well, yeah, he did, but it wasn't his team. And let's be fair, Arsenal got bloody lucky because in that quarter final, Arsenal had Sheffield United had 2 goals disallowed.
Yep.
That's not the point. The fact is, I think you're very bad. I mean, you got Maddison, so respect on that. You've got Son. I think he's a great player, Son. I rate him. I'd love him at Arsenal. I really would. But I think your goalkeeper's questionable, to be honest. And I think you should have done better in the summer transfer window. And I just think you've got a lack of management leadership in Daniel Levy and questionable some of your backroom staff, which will cost you this season. And unfortunately for you guys, I think it's going to be a nothing season once again. Where do I think you'll finish in the league? I would say I reckon Tottenham this season will probably finish 6th. I think Manchester City are going to steamroller it. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Manchester City, on their current form and their current squad, they could go invincible. I wouldn't be at all surprised.
How about Chelsea? What do you think of them? Do you think they will finish above us as well?
Chelsea, I don't think will finish above you guys. I think they are absolutely poor at the moment. Really poor. I questioned the manager there, and I can see he'll be out before Christmas, to be honest. Same as Man United with Ten Hag. They're in trouble. Big trouble. So there's going to be a lot of chops and changes in management, I think, in the next few months leading up from now till Christmas. I mean, Man United are in a terrible for the biggest club, the biggest English club out there. You can't deny it, what they've achieved. I mean, Liverpool, massive club with what they've achieved in their time, in my lifetime as a fan. You can't question it. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And I'll tell you, a shock one could be who I thought when those people bought Newcastle United, that group, whoever they are, I'm surprised they didn't put more money in to buying players in the summer because they've got unlimited funds, and they didn't, and I find that interesting. And I can see.
I find that interesting too, and I can see them struggling this season a bit.
Yeah. Well, they already are, aren't they? I honestly thought they were going to come out the blocks this season after the summer transfer window, really whip it quick. They haven't, and I'm thinking, they didn't invest like I thought they would in that summer, and I think that's going to cause some problems. And I can see them not ending up where I originally thought they might. I could see them ending up mid-table.
Yep.
I think they're going to get caught out in the Champions League. That's for sure.
So what do you think? Which teams would make top 5 above Tottenham then? In that case,
I'm going to go Man City to win it. Right. I'm going to go Arsenal second. I think Liverpool will end up 3rd. I think they'll be a dark horse. I think, surprise of all, Aston Villa could be up there because they've got Unai Emery,
Good one.
I rated him as a manager, and he's doing great stuff behind the scenes. So that's my top 4. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if there's somebody like 5th. I wouldn't be at all surprised if it could be somebody. Good question. I don't know that one at the moment, but I think
Brighton, maybe.
Could be. Yeah, they're playing very, very well. Unlucky the other night in the Europa. Yeah. I mean, first time in it, they were unlucky. They were played very, very well, and then unfortunately
And by the way, West Ham this season, unlike last season, they don't look that bad as well. Like they have had some really decent. They have a decent start to the season as well.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm not looking for. I've been down to the Brighton Arsenal game for the last few seasons. We got away with it. We played. Arsenal played exceptionally well last year, but we were playing brilliant football at the time. We were pretty untouchable. Let's be fair, and we took them apart. I would not say that's going to be the case this season. I'll be honest with you. I think that's going to be a very tough game. And we've got them in October, I think it is, down at their ground. And yeah, that's going to be a tough game. But tomorrow is a massive, massive game. It's a big game for both our teams because both of us need to. Well, both of us want to win it. Of course, we do.
Yep.
Both of us need to win it because to maintain our pressure in the top half of where we are. So it's going to be an all-out fight tomorrow. I think your manager, he's a decent manager, that guy. Whether he can do what he did when he was at, was it Celtic? Was it Celtic he was at?
Celtic, yep.
Whether he can do what he did up there, I don't know. I mean,
Melbourne, Celtic, and all the Japanese league and something like that. Yeah.
Well, let's be honest. I've no disrespect to the Scottish Premier League. It's pretty crap. You know,
everybody knows. Yeah.
Well, we could manage a Celtic or Rangers team to win the league up there because they're the only teams that are in it.
Of course. Yeah, I think I completely agree with you. I think the only positive that a lot of fans can draw from Postecoglou one is that he went since he has come to the Premier League, he hasn't looked like shaky or nervy. He's oozing on that confidence that he has built on, but he hasn't been clearly tested yet as well. I'm not gonna lie. Man United was not the real test. Man United, when we played Man United, I think Man United was just okay. Yeah, let's see what can come out of the team basically, because Man United, that team is nowhere near the best teams that we have that are there in the Premier League. I think our biggest test this season is basically Arsenal away, which so far which is gonna come out, like, let's just say where we are. I would say that if we draw that game, it's a positive. It's a positive. You can see that, yeah, you can then tell that okay, we are progressing, we are going somewhere, because previous couple of years we have even struggled to draw, I think, even at Arsenal away game, and we have been really absolutely battered under previous managers at Arsenal. That fixture has not looked that great under some of the previous managers. Arsenal away, I think that would be the real test for Ange Postecoglou and his team. But however, having said that, I'm kind of confident that this team that we are going into, in terms of as a squad, the way they've gelled together, they are one of the best squads I think we have had in the in the recent years, going into our North London derby, which is fit, which is oozing in confidence. And the main thing I find it very good is that you have players like Maddison who can create. Because for longest of time, I think we were missing that piece. But since Ericsson left us, we were missing that piece. We have a player like him, and the defense has sort of like been sorted out with Romero and 1-1 there. So it would be interesting to see. So yeah, I'm confident going into that game. Like, I'm not that disappointed, because in past, I think when we went into that fixture, I knew that yes, we were not that good. But I don't know how this is me, but I can see pretty much of a draw, or either a 2-2 draw maybe, or something like a 2-1 or a 3-2 win. That's the best I can see for Tottenham. Yeah, but I don't know where. Like seriously, I think Arsenal as well. I think it's going to be one of their biggest tests as well. What do
Mm,
you reckon for Arsenal there?
absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. Let's get it. Let's be honest. Our best display so far this season was on Wednesday night against PSV, because I think the worst thing that Tottenham will do or could do is come to the Emirates and try and play attacking football, because that's where you'll get caught out by Arsenal. Personally, I
Yep.
think our midfield was slightly stronger. I really rate Maddison, so that's going to be an interesting battle between him, Odegaard, and Declan Rice. But
Yep.
it's proven that if
And
you can't,
Bissouma, I think, has looked good as well this season.
yeah, Basuma, yeah. I mean, how Arsenal never bought him, I just don't understand that. We were linked with him and we never bought him. I mean, that's Arsenal.
I think you guys wanted to get the Leicester midfielder, the one what's his name, Tillmans.
Yes, I agree with you there. But relating to the game tomorrow, um, Arsenal have a great problem in breaking down teams. All the games we've played this season, if you look at how teams are set up against us in the league, I'm talking about, they've all had this low block type situation in defence, and Arsenal don't have the creativity, in my opinion, up front to break them down. Eddie Nketiah is absolutely crap at it. He's useless. Havertz, no chance. Jesus will be isolated if that happens against Tottenham tomorrow, because we haven't got Martinelli on the left tomorrow. So who's going to step in there?
Trossard probably.
Sorry?
Trossard, like the PSV game.
Absolutely, Trossard should, because Trossard to me is our most skilled player we got. He jinks and confuses defences, so I think he will start there. I agree with you there. Saka, we know will start.
Yep.
Right, he'll start, but we know how Tottenham will play against him. They'll put two. As soon as he gets that ball, there'll be two players on him, which takes him out of the game.
I think Udoji would probably be taking on him, and Udoji is not that bad of a defender as well, I feel.
No, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there. So it is going to be a hard fought battle. There's no question.
Yep.
Nobody can say a North London derby is an easy thing. It's not.
Exactly.
It's yeah, okay. There's been games where Arsenal have. I mean, some of the great games I've been to live between Arsenal, Tottenham, Arsenal. It's always a fight.
Yep, it is.
It is what it is. Some people don't get it, don't understand it. But when you've been there and witnessed it on the day, you know how the atmosphere is. It's electric. It's like no other game you ever go to, and it is going to be a tough outing. That's for sure for Arsenal at home. I'll say that now, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if it was a draw. I wouldn't be at all surprised. I personally have said it's going to be 3-1 Arsenal. That's my prediction. I've said that, so I'm sticking by it. But the interesting one will be the return to White Hart Lane later in the season, because by then the season's moved on. It'll be interesting to see where both our teams are. You know, because I'm not confident, mate, that we're going to do great guns this season, because I'll tell you for why. I don't like Arteta's tinkering, this fiddling about. This when we started this season, he had Partey at right back. Why?
By the way, there's a question there as well. I think Dietrich was asking that, Jess, do you think if Partey didn't get injured, would he still be playing right back?
Probably, because why do that at the start of the season when he didn't do it in pre-season?
Yeah.
In pre-season, he was playing White, Saliba, Gabriel, and Tierney before we got.
Yeah.
And that's another joke situation. Why do we get rid of the best left back?
Yeah, that was another surprising one. I think a lot of teams asked, like, why would Arsenal want to get rid of Tierney?
Because he wants Zinchenko there. And Zinchenko, I'm sorry, he's not a bloody defender. He's a midfielder. I mean, the last game, Wednesday night, and the game before that against Everton, he was on the right wing at times. I mean, what is that about? So this start 4 at the back, and we end up with 3, and then we've got nobody to cover him. So that tinkering is what will cost Arsenal this season. I'm sorry. I think Arteta thinks he is Pep Guardiola, and I'm sorry he's not. And if he does this tomorrow against you boys, right, we could be open to losing. I have to say it. I don't want to say it, but I have to say it because it is proven, to answer Detrick's question. Yeah, I think if Partey wasn't injured, you're probably correct. He probably would be, yeah. When we've got a very good, proven right back in Ben White, who played.
Yeah, he has not been bad.
Sorry?
I think Ben White looked better as a right back than he was as a centre back. Like I feel that right back is like the cutout role for him. Definitely.
Totally agree with you there. When we had Saliba out on loan, Ben White was playing at centre back.
Yep.
And I was critical of him because he was very poor. When we got Saliba back and we slotted him in, who knew he was decent, we put Ben White out at right back. And last season, he was incredible, in my opinion. The fact he overlaps the midfield, yeah, he's very good at crossing the ball. And so I'm happy with him there. So why would you then go Partey, White, Saliba, Zinchenko? And why would you weaken your defence when you had a pretty decent defence in White, Saliba, Gabriel, Tierney? I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Why do that? It's just nonsensical. But if he does stupid things tomorrow with our defence, right? Hopefully he won't, because he knows we haven't got the players to put in there. Zinchenko, we know, will start at left back, right? We know that. I don't like it. Yep. This inverted nonsense. I think it's open for trouble. So personally, I would go White, Saliba, Gabriel, Kiwior. Kiwior is a decent defender, right?
Not bad. And then midfield 3, who would you put?
Midfield, to me, it's going to be, of course, Odegaard, Declan Rice, and the other guy's name I can't think of.
Vieira, Fabio Vieira.
Vieira's too lightweight, mate. Let me tell you. I would go Jorginho.
Oh, Jorginho. Okay.
And then I'd have Saka, Jesus, and Trossard.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty decent lineup as well. Like, I think for me, I'll go with. Okay, the other one now I'm going to ask you is before I go into Tottenham side, David Raya or Aaron Ramsdale for North London Derby. Do you think David Raya should play on North London Derby as well?
Yeah.
Given his recent performances, yeah. Do you think?
I think he should. I'll tell you for why. He's kept 2 clean sheets. His ball distribution at this point in time is better than Ramsdale. Ramsdale has got slack. He's cost us goals when they shouldn't have been cost. They shouldn't have been goals. Let's be fair. He sometimes comes way too far out. That goal against I forget who it was now. It was Forest, right?
Yep.
He was way. If he'd been on his line or in his 6-yard box, he'd have saved that. but he's still on the edge of the 18-yard box. He's trying to run back. No chance. Job done. So, yeah, David Raya for me all day long. And the one thing we've got to do, we've got to keep quiet Son. We've got to keep him quiet, and we've got to keep Maddison quiet and Bissouma, because if we don't keep those players quiet, we're in trouble. That is for sure. And those three players, I'd have at Arsenal in a heartbeat. There's no question about that.
Yep.
It's the only three of Tottenham players I would have, not being disrespectful, but I'd have them all day long.
Yep. I think my internet just got stuck a little bit. I think I'll go with Vicario in goal probably. Then I'll definitely go with right back. I think I'll stick to Pedro Porro, because I think the amount of attacking capability that he offers as a fullback in terms of the inverted fullback role, he's much better than Emerson, because Emerson, he's average in his defending and he's average in his attacking capability as well. So I'll stick to Pedro Porro, and I'll go with Romero and Van de Ven in the centre back role, and Udoji as left back. I think we are kind of predictable, I think, with our lineup. Then the midfield three, I'll go with Sarr, Bissouma, and Madison definitely. And front three is gonna be I'll go with Kulusevski, Son, and Solomon. Let's see how that turns out to be. And yeah, I would say that if we can put this team up and they are all firing, and maybe impact sub, you can bring in someone like Johnson, someone like Richarlison if need to be. I think they can be impact subs, but I don't think I'll start them. So I can see us, I think, either making like a close 2-1 game or a 3-2 game, or maybe a 2-2 draw. Yeah. But if let's say if let's say Richarlison starts as striker, no chance. I think we are losing the game. I'm not gonna lie that.
Yeah, I wouldn't start Richarlison, that's for sure. I've never ever rated him, even when he was at Everton. I thought.
No. Yeah, I think that was one of the worst businesses that we made after Ndombele. I think he's the worst signing. Like, this guy can like even some of our defenders have scored more goals than that guy actually, who plays all the way up front. Like, seriously, I don't understand why did we even get that kind of crap signing, seriously. But yeah, let's get into the interesting part of the day. I'll go with combined 11 now for Tottenham versus Arsenal. Oh, okay. This is gonna be an interesting one. I think we'll stick to the form this season. Firstly, 4-3-3. I think that's the standard one that both of our teams play.
Yeah.
And then I'll go. I think we will stick to the form this season, and definitely fit players. One more. So those who are fit currently. So we'll stick to that, and see what combined 11 that we can make up. Let's start with. I'll keep track of it in the private chat. By the way, let's start with goalkeeper. So goalkeeper, I think definitely. I think for myself, Vicario, and your side, you have Raya. Is that what I'm assuming? Or
I personally, right now, sitting here, I'd go with Raya. Personally, I think
I agree.
He's bang on.
I think
bang on form.
I think Raya would be good. I think even for me, I wouldn't put Vicario there if I were to choose a start a combined 11. So I think goalkeeper would be Raya. Right back, Pedro Porro.
Right back. Who's your guy?
Pedro Porro, the one who came from Sporting, that guy.
Tough one, that. I would go with your guy. I'll tell you why.
Pedro Porro.
Yeah, I'll tell you for why I'd go with him. on this occasion is I think that his ball distribution. Ben White's very good at crossing, but sometimes his close play can be a little bit it can be a little bit iffy. So I'm going with your man.
Yeah, I think I'll go with Poro also. One of the reasons I think he's more technical as a player than Ben White is. I think Ben White is more of a straightforward type of player. So I think I'll go with Pedro Poro there.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, if there's anybody in the chat, I think there's a lot of streams going on, so there's not many people. But if you are there in the chats, let us know your thoughts as well. Who would you rather put in those positions? Then we'll go through that as well. Oh, center back, I think it's going to be a tough one. I have Christian Romero and Nicky Van de Ven. Yeah.
I'm going to have to go with Saliba at right centre back. I think Romero is a red card waiting to happen in this game. Personally, I think he gets too hot-headed, and I think that will cost. So I'm going Saliba, and I have to go. What's your other guy's name?
Nicky Van de Ven, the Wolfsburg guy.
Yeah, I think he's a decent player. I'd go with him. I'm going Saliba and him. Yeah, fair play.
Saliba and Romero. Okay, I'm surprised you chose him over Gabriel. Yeah, because I think Mickey Van de Ven, he offers a lot of pace in terms of his tracking back.
Gabriel can get hot-headed in these games, as I think Romero is. So I would go for a slightly more secure type of player.
Romero and you choose Saliba as right center back, and LCB is Van de Ven. Okay. Left back. We have Destiny Udogie.
Yeah, we've got to go with him. We've got to go with him. Kivois is a decent player, but he won't start. Zinchenko, no, don't like him at left back at all. So I'm going with your man.
It's a tough one actually, because I personally rate Zinchenko to a certain extent, but I think I agree. He in this particular role, he's a bit more of a midfielder. I think he could be a bit all over the place, but he's a technical player. I think with Zinchenko.
Well, he is, but I don't like the fact that he goes forward. Let's get it right. When he played for Ukraine against England, yeah, he scored a goal. All the time he's playing left back and ends up in midfield, he's not going to score a goal. And the fact that he wanders around and he's out there on the right wing at times leaves us so exposed down the left, because that means Gabriel or Declan Rice has got to come back to fill that position. So that makes our midfield weak. I don't like it. I just don't understand it. So yeah, I'm going with your man.
So it will be Udogie in the. I'm actually surprised. I got three defensive players, because the defense is like our weakest place. But I think this season we have improved a bit with the new signings, because defense previously looked quite poor on Tottenham side. But I think now this is the next phase is going to be the tough one. Midfield, I think we have Bissouma, Sarr, and James Maddison. But let's go with the central midfield first, and we see where we go on the attacking midfield. So central midfield, we have Bissouma and Sarr. I think Bentancur is still not fit yet.
No, you got to go. I mean, for me, you got to go with Maddison and Bissouma. I think they're class. I'd go. I'd have to.
No, sorry. I'm going with central mid first, and then I'll go to the attacking mid separately. Because Maddison, Maddison it comes on as a attacking mid.
Maddison.
But yeah, I think Maddison can play both central and attacking mid.
Maddison all day for me. All day.
Maddison.
I've always rated him. He's a levels above, and I think he'll cause trouble tomorrow. And
if it's gonna be mid three of Arsenal and Tottenham combined, it will be, I think, Rice, Maddison, and Bissouma.
At the moment, from my point of view, I'm going Rice, Maddison, and Odegaard. That's my.
Yeah, I think Rice, Madison, and Odegaard probably. Yeah, I think I agree. I agree with that. I think midfield, because Odegaard can play up front as well. I think Odegaard also can play as a central midfielder if need to. So midfield would be Rice. Midfield two would be Madison, and midfield three will be Odegaard.
Odegaard at the moment is bang on form, so I'd have to go with
Yeah,
him.
he has a great form. I think the only player I think on our side who can take over him is definitely Madison, because Madison over the past couple of years, I was actually surprised by this stat. I don't know if you are, but apparently Madison is the only guy among the camps who's ahead of Madison in terms of goals and assists per 90 in Europe is actually Kevin De Bruyne. So after Kevin De Bruyne, the guy who has most goals and assists per 90 in the whole of Europe is actually Madison.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
I was kind of surprised when I looked at that stat as well. So, but Odegaard's numbers and his purses last 2 years has been better than Madison.
Okay.
So I was looking at like the last 3 or 4 years stats, and that's the overall was his ratio was better. But I think Odegaard, he's in form. Like that guy score goals for fun. I think he really compensates for your lack of strength in the forward line or the striker. Forward line now we have Son, Kulusevski, and Manor Solomon.
Son all day long. That goes without saying. Saka and Kulusevski.
So yeah, Kulusevski's okay. So forward will be forward one, Son. Forward two will be Kulusevski, and Saka can play as left or right, either side, right?
I play well. His best position's on the right wing. That's for sure.
Yeah. Forward three would be Saka. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Arsenal players and 6 Tottenham players. I think kind of fair, right? That's
I think that's about
where
right. I think that's about right in balance.
yeah, it's kind of balanced. So I think that just shows that how intense this kind of game can be, because both the teams are kind of at the same level. So I mean, I kind of expected something similar as well, and yeah, I'm glad actually that I didn't have to argue back and forth with you, because some channels have gone crazy. If you've been watching the channels, some channels have gone crazy when they have done like the combined 11s. If you go and watch, I think Never a Foul and some of the channels, wow man, seriously, when they were doing combined 11s, the debates were hour long on just one position. I think that's one of the things that I enjoy on this show, is that the kind of people I usually have, they're very level headed. I usually don't get the idiots on.
Well, yeah. The thing is, I think I've been on so many streams where people do that. Other people do this sort of thing, and it's just so one-sided. I did one last year on a guy's show. It's Man United. It was Arsenal Man United at the Emirates, and there was me, another Arsenal fan, and 3 Man U fans, and it was just like I think they only accepted me and this other guy's decision about 2 Arsenal players, and I was sat there saying, "Well, look how you're playing. You're rubbish at this point in time." And yet you want to put all your players in there against these players. And it was just pointless at the end of the day. You think, well, what's the point of talking about it? Because if you just want to put all your 11 players in, then put all your 11 players in. But you're asking us questions of who from Arsenal would slot in to a combined Man U Arsenal, but you've got 9 Man United players and 2 Arsenal, so which is nonsense because you're playing crap.
Like last season, I think this guy, I don't know if you, I think you know him. This guy, this Sky Sports. This guy, Lee McQueen, Mr. Lee McQueen. He's one of the problems at this club as well. He went on and said that, oh, okay, now he put in 8 Tottenham players in the combined 11. I was shocked, man. Last season, that Tottenham team was like in shambles, man. When we played Northland Derby in January, that Tottenham team was nowhere near that. You can put 8 Tottenham players in that combined 11, and he only put like 3 Arsenal players, and we were all embarrassed by that guy. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I think the trouble is that a lot of fans, people that do those sort of things, they're so one-directional.
Bias, probably.
But yeah, great term, biased. That they won't accept actually that there are other options from, like as we've just talked about, Arsenal, Tottenham combined, because you have to respect the fact that Tottenham have got players that are better in certain positions than Arsenal. This isn't the Arsenal team when we had the likes of Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, Robert Pires, Patrick Vieira. I mean, if you wanted to do a combination of Arsenal against Spurs back then, there's no question you'd probably have 8 Arsenal fans and 8 Arsenal players, I beg your pardon, right? And 3 Tottenham, because that was an incredible team and nobody can deny it. But at this point in time, we have to agree that we're both pretty much in the same levels of who we've got as players.
Yeah.
There's nobody that really stands out too much above anybody else. But a player like Son, who scores bangs goals every season, I can't say to you I'd play Jesus over Son, because I wouldn't. I'd play Son.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I pretty much agree with that one as well. Like, for example, I wouldn't put Manor Solomon or any of our, like, let's say guys like Richarlison or Saka. Like, 'cause Saka is he's a good right winger as well. But do I think that he would constantly beat, like, let's say our right winger and all that? I don't think so. Like in future, when we go over, like, let's just say players like Johnson turn out to be, it will be for future. Like sometimes the argument comes on at, oh no, the Brandon Johnson or Richarlison has much more of a ceiling, but ceiling is for the future. It's not for now. Right now, Saka is the best player currently within that comparison that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. My only concern there with Saka at the moment is he gets played. He has this niggle with his
Yeah, he has been carrying that for a while. Like he's been limping sometimes. I think after like a couple of minutes as well.
Yeah, he had this problem last season with this Achilles issue, but we continue to play him. And my concern is it's only a matter of time before he ruptures that, or worst, snaps it. And if that happens, I mean, players that have done that never come back the same. John Barnes, England international, fabulous player at Liverpool. When he retired, he admitted after he'd snapped his Achilles, he had to have surgery. He had never had the flexibility in his ankle as he did before. Because if you snap your Achilles, it tightens.
Yeah,
so you can't have that same maneuverability. And when he came back, he was never the same quality of player. And as a young lad, a young kid that Saka is, personally, if it was me, I would have rested him against PSV Wednesday night, ready to be fresh tomorrow for the Tottenham game, obviously. And I would be not playing him against Lons midweek when we play them in the Champions League on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think fair. Yeah, those are I think some of the managerial tactics that managers know, that experienced managers like Pep they would do that kind of thing. But I think someone like Arteta, I think. But I guess Arteta recently also has been under pressure because of Martinelli's injury. Yeah. So by the way, just great to have you on. Tell people where can people find you, by the way. And yeah, what are you having on next? I think you are doing a stream right after this as well, somewhere, right?
That's correct. Yes, my channel is Arsenal, the History and More on YouTube, and I'm on Instagram, collins.jez, just general chatting there. But yeah, tomorrow I'll probably tomorrow night, or probably maybe Monday, I'll be doing a review of the game. Obviously, the North London derby, Arsenal Tottenham. So I'm looking forward to it. It's nervy. I always get nervous about these games. I can't lie. It's the big game, isn't it, of the season? I know it's not a cup game. I know it's not like anything like that. But it's who's the bigger dog than the other dog? Let's be honest. So it is what it is. I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be an interesting day out. That's for sure.
Yep, and I hope the boys can steal the 3 points on our side. Yep, but thanks, Jess. It's always a pleasure having you on. And yeah, for myself, guys, I think I'll be doing a show tomorrow, pre-match pump up. I'll be doing 1 hour before just the game start. I will be just going through the combined 11. I'll have another Arsenal fan on. So one side I have a slightly older Arsenal fan. Tomorrow I've got one very young fan. He's fresh AFC. He's one of the kind of young boys. He's from Netherlands. I think he's in his teens. He'll be joining me tomorrow for the combined 11 chat, and we'll be going through what the combined 11 looks like. So yeah, two different generations of Arsenal fans over the 2 days for me, and I'm kind of excited for that one. And yes, the Step Up Spurs content from now onwards will be every week. So every week we will have guests on for different games. I think next week I'll have some Liverpool fan on as well. Let's see who I can get, and then we will be doing that regularly now. So in the meantime, as always, stay strong, stay Spurs. We'll see you guys next time. I'm stealing Will Stewart's line here, and bye for now.